Ceamcara. Budget 2023, Minister, is taken as a whole will help families across Ireland somewhat to meet the growing bills for food, heat, electricity this winter. The measures announced, such as the extension of fuel allowance thresholds, electricity credit payments, double child benefit payments and the once-off 500 payment for recipients of working family payments, will go some way to reducing anxieties and alleviating fears of those on low incomes and their abilities to afford daily necessities. However, it is bitterly disappointed that the social welfare increases will not match rates of inflation, and in the medium and long term will mean more families could struggle next year as their finances don't stretch as far. While we strongly welcomed many of the measures introduced in Budget 2023 to help protect families this winter with the essentials, we fear that the measures do not go far enough to reduce the financial struggles families are facing. We are hearing first-hand from families across the country who are extremely anxious about whether or not there will be enough money for food, heat, electricity and clothing. The reality on the ground for people who apply for disability, they are waiting well over 8 weeks before they are turned down for the payment in most cases. They didn't have to appeal, and we are waiting for weeks and weeks again. I have one lady waiting well over 9 weeks for a genuine disability payment. The reality on the ground for people who are working, one particular lady came to me in my clinic 2 weeks ago. She said the budget did nothing for her. She was very critical of me, maybe that I hadn't put up a strong argument. She had cancer last year. She's only able to work 3 days a week. She doesn't want to go on this X and O's because the social welfare are continuously chasing her around to get full-time employment. She's trying to live on €300. She said, I'm getting nothing. I'm getting nothing to fill the oil tank at home, to put the fuel in the car, to insure the person. I'm getting nothing, she said. And she said she's falling between every crack. 300 a week is what she's earning. She's happy with her job. She's happy to work. If she could work full time, she said she certainly would, but she's not. She doesn't have that ability. But unfortunately, for many, many reasons, she's falling between cracks. The reality on the ground is we also have carers who receive carers allowance, which is means tested. Mostly, it's women who are the carers. A lot of these carers spend hours and hours every day taking care of the patient, and when they are means tested, so if their spouse or partner is out working, their allowance is reduced. I believe this is a payment which should never be means tested. If a person takes on the role of care, then they need to be paid accordingly. Only for the carers in this country are already overflowing hospitals would be in dire straits. Carers need to be paid, Minister, without means tested. What they get is pittance anyway compared to what a hospital or home help or nursing home would cost the state. While welcoming the increases, we believe that they do not go far enough to protect the most financially vulnerable. That was why the rural independent TDs called for a €20 per week increase to all weekly social welfare payments. The reality is that the cost of living crisis is having a deep and profound impact on Ireland's high proportion of individuals who are unemployed, long-term ill or disabled, living alone or who are single parents in these households. This is because these households spend a greater proportion of their income on essentials, which exposes them to more price increases in the shops and to energy hikes. It must be mentioned here that the core social welfare rates were not increased in 2 of the last 4 budgets. Older people are living in fear this winter. That fear stems from not knowing whether they can afford to light or heat their homes or put food on the table. That is why the Rural Independent Group sought that 20 per week increase in our pre-budget submission. Therefore, we are very disappointed that the government has chosen not to protect older people's weekly spending power sufficiently. A €12 per week increase is simply not give the pensioners the same spending power they had in January 2022. And there was talks here this evening as part of this social welfare bill in relation to CE workers, CE supervisors, I should say, and their pension rights, and they rightly so should get their pension rights, and many haven't got it. Even though there is some rectifying done to the wrong that's been done to them for years, a lot of them haven't got the payments because they came to see me in the last weekend in my clinic. And, some have, some haven't, and it's not fair. And, this needs to be urgently rectified because this is going on for years. And also, I got contacted by an accountant yesterday morning. Businesses are struggling, Minister. They're absolutely on their knees, quite a lot of them. One accountant told me yesterday is dealing quite a lot of business in West Cork. He said he paid their electricity bill himself. Now, I know that's not going to last for long, but the subsidies that they're supposed to get in February 23rd, he's pleading with me to see, could we plead with the government of the day to bring that forward, because they certainly are on the brink. Quite a lot of the businesses. These are cafe owners, restaurant owners, pub owners. They are on the brink, they're telling him. They can't afford. And they were, as I said, one business was gone to the wall yesterday morning, and yet he pulled out a cheque himself. We can't have this continue, Minister. And that's what's happening on the ground in Ireland at this present time.